Okay, that concludes management reports. I'd like to take this opportunity to again remind you that the board is offering office hours during the month. And for those of you who would like to come in and spend some time with a board member, you can call 773-553-1600. We'll try to accommodate all those requests as people have been coming in, and we appreciate that. And secondly, we continue to use this new registration process. To the best of our observation, it seems to be working. That's reservations to come to this meeting. To the extent that people think there are issues with it, we're still welcome to listen and try to continue to improve it. But so far, it seems to be working. But we would welcome any thoughts you might have to the contrary. With that, Madam Secretary, would you please share the details for the next board meeting?
Thank you, Mr. President. The next board meeting will be held on April 24, 2013. Advanced registration will open at 8 a.m. on April 15, 2013, and will close on April 19, 2013 at 5 p.m., or when the 60 slots fill, whichever is first. If anyone has any questions about this process, please contact the board office for our assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We will now proceed with 2 hours of public participation. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. President. And if I may call Clarice Berry, please, from the Chicago Principals Association, who is with us today to be our first speaker, followed by speaker number 1, Marta Almaguer, and then speaker number 2, Crystal Beverly. After speaker number 2, we will hear from the group from Courtney School, and they have identified 2 designated speakers. That will be speaker number 23, Katie Reed, and then speaker number 32, Wendy Affont, please. Thank you.
Good morning, President Vitale, board members, CEO Barbara Byrd Bennett, and staff. I'm here today to address the pending massive closure of over 50 Chicago public schools. These closings are in communities that do not need any further misfortune, depletion of resources, additional violence, or disruption of supportive relationships. Yet that is exactly what this board is expected to vote for next month. I have lived and worked through successive CPS administrations and the much-touted 10-year Renaissance 2010. There is little evidence that that plan and the pain and upheaval of those 10 years has produced any lasting benefit to the unfortunate students and CPS staff caught in the misnamed debacle. We are now being asked to embrace yet another disaster du jour labeled right-sizing. Over 3 years, the Chicago Principals and Administrators Association has worked alongside other organizations to produce legislation and create a task force to halt the ad hoc, destructive nature of unplanned school facilities management. That legislation created the Chicago Educational Facilities Task Force. CPS is a part of this task force, but has given minimal support or importance to the idea that a school system as large as CPS should have a 10-year master facilities plan. Best practices in facilities management are easy to find, and the Chicago Education Facilities Task Force has researched and brought examples of those practices to the attention of the Chicago Public Schools for the past 2 years. We have repeatedly requested members of CPS staff to come before our task force with information to assist in preparing the Chicago 10-year master facilities plan. Instead, Chicago Public Schools have continued to engage in its yearly proliferation of charter school approvals, turnarounds, and school closings without long-range planning, impact studies, or community partnerships. How ironic that the first draft of that plan is due in May. The same month, this Board of Education is expected to approve the nation's largest closing of public schools in the nation. Now CPS is poised to inflict massive closings and unprecedented uprooting of tens of thousands of students and school staff that serve them. How is it possible that CPS has not accepted its responsibility and authorship of this tragic outcome resulting from its negligent due diligence and facility management? That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Clarice.
Thank you. Our first speaker, please, Marta Almaguer.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Marta Almaguer. I am a parent of 3 children who now attend a Noble charter school in the south side of Chicago, Gary Comer College Prep. My oldest daughter just graduated last year, ranking among the top 10 in her class. It is a privilege and an honor and a pride for me to say that her first generation class graduated with a 100% of students accepted to a 4-year college. That you do not see nowadays. My oldest daughter is now a very successful freshman at St. Olaf College in Minnesota and has just recently come back from being the first ever Hispanic in the softball team and competing nationwide in Florida this past weekend. That makes me very proud. Therefore, the other siblings, I now have a sophomore at Gary Comer, my 13-year-old boy, which is my youngest, at Gary Comer Middle School in 7th grade, and he has already been exposed to 5 different universities at this time in his age, something that I was never even exposed at high school when I graduated. Due to this successful career and love of learning that Estrella has set the path, her cousins, nephews, siblings, neighbors, and friends are now part of this successful campus in the south side of Chicago.
Ms. Almaguer, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes.
Thank you.
Estrella will be the first one in the family to attend college, and therefore the siblings are now following her steps. Thank you for the opportunity. I do feel that parents do have the right to choose a successful, well-rounded, high expectation high school.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please. Speaker number 2, Crystal Beverly.
Good morning. My name is Crystal Beverly, a parent of a 4th grader of CICS Basel, an elementary charter school campus serving West Englewood. With me today stands 2 additional members of CICS Basel community, Vontonia Owens, a parent of a 5th grader, and Elisa Taylor, our school nurse and a charter parent. We are here today to share some of the great things CICS Basel and to request equal transparency from CPS and the Board of Education. On the eve of last Board of Education meeting, Chicago International Charter School CEO Beth Purvis received a phone call from Mr. Jack Elsey at 10 p.m. informing her that CPS Basel campus was being put on the watch list, just like that, without the courtesy of a conversation or community hearing. CICS parents, students, family, and staff were put on in a compromised position that I believe was motivated by politics and not by performance. Since Mr. Elsey's timing and sharing the news about CICS Basel and other such charter campuses prevented us from signing up for the last board meeting, we are here today to ask for respectful communication and clear expectations from CPS and the Board of Education. CICS is offering a higher quality education than 4 of its 15 neighboring elementary schools, as measured by ISAT performance, and is equally competitive and with every relevant metric, including attendance, mobility, and NWEA.
Ms. Beverly, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Given this information, I have asked Jack Elsey, and I will ask you, when will our campers know how the watch list will affect us moving forward? Will CICS be shut down without high-quality alternatives to turn to in our neighborhood? We represent real public school families, real public school students, and real public school education being affected by your decisions and the lack of information provided by CPS and the Board of Education on this matter are simply unacceptable. Please consider our very real needs and rights as you make decisions in the future. Thank you for your consideration. We look forward to working more closely with you in the coming days.
Thank you, Ms. Beverly. Our next speaker, the Courtney Group, designated speaker, please. Speaker number 23, Katie Reed, followed by speaker number 32, designated speaker for Courtney as well, Wendy Afant.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. I'm here today because I laid down roots at a wonderful little school this year. It has a community feeling I never thought I would find in CPS. I feel like my daughter is safe and truly cared for when I drop her off each morning. Courtney Elementary has a model that keeps class sizes small and learning big. I heard rumors that Courtney might be relocated in the future, but I never thought this high-performing, fully utilized school would be fundamentally changed. When I got the letter that Courtney would be merged with Stockton and made an uptown neighborhood school, I was heartsick. This area in the city, which is already lacking the number of magnet schools found in Lincoln Park and Lakeview, needs to keep this gem of a school. Simply renaming Stockton Courtney and handing us their model has parents up in arms. We did not meet any of the criteria to be closed. Thus, we were not given an opportunity to advocate for our children until now. Both schools have a 30% special needs population, and a formula is being used based on 30 kids per class, which does not reflect the population of our schools. I came here today to insist you truly relocate Courtney and retain its 100% lottery model. We pride ourselves on being a school of neighborhoods, where people came together who weren't happy with their neighborhood options to create a unique learning environment. Our model is successful, and we have been told that Stockton is a small district and surrounding schools are not overcrowded, which would allow the Stockton boundaries to be redrawn and Courtney to maintain 100% lottery school status.
Ms. Reed, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Sure.
Thank you.
Neighborhood schools can be wonderful, but it is not the model we chose and has not led to Courtney's impressive record. Please keep Courtney a lottery school. Keep this community together and this award-winning school thriving. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed.
Thank you. Our next speaker then is the designated speaker, Wendy Afant, and then the next group, as she, before she starts addressing the board, is the Ames group, and I would ask that you identify 2 designated speakers. We're noting speaker number 4, Gail Sturm, followed by speaker 19, Alvet Alicea, and speaker number 33, Maria Romero. If you could designate 2 speakers for that group, please.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Afant, and my daughter Isa attends Courtney Language Arts Center. Isa's 5, she's in kindergarten, and she loves her school because she's learned to read this year. And indeed, her mama loves it for that reason too. We purposefully chose Courtney for its record of academic success, its personalized small school setting, and its 99% safety rating, unlike our neighborhood school. Among other recognitions, Courtney School was named to the 2012 Illinois Honor Roll as a Spotlight School, a rising star. So imagine my shock and dismay when I received a packet in my child's backpack indicating the proposed relocation of Courtney to Stockton Elementary, along with a change in enrollment policy from 100% lottery to neighborhood school. The current proposal before the board is insulting and disrespectful to parents in its design and how it's been communicated. Courtney was not on the final list of school closures, and therefore Courtney School stakeholders were not provided with a community forum, as promised by the CPS CEO, and they denied me the opportunity to advocate for my child's school, and community. Further, I find the current proposal disingenuous in its merit. While CPS communicates that Courtney is merely relocating, it does not address the fact that the proposal is fundamentally changing the school's design. CPS continues to lose enrollment of city schools to the suburbs because of terrible proposals like the one before you. The Courtney School community requests the Board of Education to respond to the following questions. Why was no forum scheduled for the Courtney School community to discuss these impending actions? Why is CPS proposing to remove the lottery-based enrollment policy?
Ms. Affont, excuse me, can you please conclude?
I will.
Thank you.
Which decreases school choice for parents and fundamentally changes the nature of the school design. What precedents does CPS cite in combining a performing school staff with an underperforming school model? Why haven't Courtney and Stockton communities been invited to the same table to discuss these concerns? And would CPS board members choose to send their children or grandchildren to this new experiment school that they're creating? These questions are included in our handout, and we respectfully await your response. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins.
Thank you. Our next speakers then will be the speakers from Ames. Last call. We'll move on to the next speaker, please. Speaker number 5 is Jackson Potter, followed by speaker number 6, please, Jesse Sharkey. As they approach the podium, the next speaker then will be speaker number 7, Jacqueline Johnson, followed by speaker number 8, Josephine Duran, please.
My name is Jesse Sharkey. I'm the Vice President of Chicago Teachers Union. I'm also the parent of 2 students at Ann Pritzker School in Wicker Park. For too long, children in CPS have been denied the education they deserve because of CPS's failure to really listen to the community and educators, for the failure to provide sufficient resources for our public schools, and for, frankly, a string of get-rich-quick educational schemes which have not been followed through on. I'm talking about essential schools, I'm talking about small schools, I'm talking about turnaround schools, I'm talking about a longer day, I'm talking about curricular changes, all of which are proposed in rapid succession, in which aren't given time to mature, and frankly replaced by other initiatives when they lose their political cachet. Closing schools is the status quo in the city. Since 2002, you've closed 75 schools in the city and turned around another 25 or so. There are, in fact, so the claim that the lack of performance of Chicago public schools is somehow because of the underutilization crisis, in your words, is a fallacy, and everyone in this room knows it. In fact, there are many quote-unquote underutilized schools that are performing very well. The school closing plan will damage our ability to educate children effectively. We've talked about the safety. People have talked about it a lot. I'm not going to repeat it. There are many high-performing schools, frankly, that are extremely worried about the lack of plans, about how we're going to merge schools. We're going to merge schools on this list. These are schools that use their discretionary money to keep classes small, that have a community involvement and parental involvement that produces effective achievement in these schools. And yet teachers and parents have never met with the faculty and other people who they're supposed to be paired with. And there's been no discussion, much less plans, of merging academic programs, school cultures, or whatnot.
Mr. Sharkey, excuse me, can you please conclude?
The justifications you've given for school closing keep changing, and they don't hold water. This is not going to save money for the school district. Finally, at every stage, political considerations have trumped educational considerations in this process. Right now, in fact, Tom Tyrell and Adam Anderson are over at City Hall giving a presentation to the board. This policy is going to hurt education. It's not about saving money. It's about politics. And I would ask that you guys step back from this policy, take a moratorium, take a pause on closing schools until these serious questions can be answered. Thank you.
Thank you. As speaker number 7 approaches the microphone, Jacqueline Johnson, followed by Josephine Doreen, I will ask speaker number 9, Juan Gonzalez, and then the 2 individuals that are here on row, speaker number 10, Adriana Villegas, followed by speaker 26, please, Nora Favela.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Johnson. I'm a parent of a sixth grader attending Noble Gary Comer College Prep Middle School. Making sure my children are able to have a quality education has always been a top priority to me. I was recently divorced and was forced to move from the suburbs into the city. Unfortunately, the school that was within walking distance of where we live, I was told my children had to attend was on academic probation. Failing school should not be considered an option for me or any parent. I had to make a decision and enroll my children in private school. Every month was a struggle. I had to make the decision to paying tuition and paying our bills. I was devastated because I didn't know where my children were gonna go to school after a year later when I was laid off from my job. The reality was I could not afford to move to another school district. While all of this was going on, I learned that Gary Comer Middle School was adding, that Noble was adding a middle school to Gary Comer College Prep. This was a godsend for me. I attended an orientation and immediately I fell in love with Noble. My sixth grader is currently on the high honor roll at GCCP. She also participates in summer camp and after school programs. This summer, she's 10 years old, and this summer she was selected to attend Duke University for a summer camp enrichment program. I'm very grateful for the opportunities Noble is offering my child and other children in my community. Unfortunately, I have a seventh grader that is currently on the waiting list, and I would love for her to have the same opportunity as her sister. So I'm asking and encouraging CPS to continue to support high-quality options like Noble so that they can continue to provide us with real options for families across Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Our next speaker, please, Josephine Duran.
Good morning, CPS Board of Education. My name is Josephine Duran. I humbly stand here before you today to speak on behalf of Johnson College Prep, a noble campus in the neighborhood of Inglewood. My daughter is in her second year of her full-time job as a student at JCP. When she is at school, I can be assured that she is in a safe, nurturing, and academic environment because of dedicated staff at JCP. My daughter is highly challenged in every way possible, be it in the classroom or on the field, or even, to my surprise, at home or wherever she goes because of her high disciplined lifestyle. She is involved in many programs such as Early College Scholar, Anime Club, piano, debate, yoga, investment club, and many others. Actually, she is going to study at a college campus in Boston this summer. Her priority is preparing for college and doing all that she can to get there. She is ranked #1 of her class. I say all this hoping that you will see all of the many exciting opportunity and hard work that take place at a Noble school. I am very proud to say that I choose the top performing open enrollment high school in the city of Chicago, and top it all, it is in my own backyard. It is time for our neighborhood to have and demand more opportunities like Noble parents. Parents should have a choice. Thank you for this opportunity that has been proven for family. Please continue to encourage academic excellency in the highest needed community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Duran.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please. Speaker number 9, Juan Gonzalez, followed by speaker number 10, Adriana Villegas, and then speaker 26, Nora Favela. After that, it will be speaker number 11, please, Matthew Laskin, followed by speaker number 12, Juanita Areola, and then the individuals from the Trumbull School, please, speaker number 13, Allison Burke, and then speaker 29, Sarah Lopez.
Good morning. I am Juan Jose Gonzalez, Chicago Director of Stanford Children. I'm here to talk about the CPS school actions. Since October, our platform has been that every student impacted by school action should be moved to a better performing school, and at least a school with an academic reinvestment like a STEM, an IB, or a turnaround. This is something that our parent members have really demanded from the beginning. We have evaluated every school action decision and scored it on an academic point scale. Our analysis is that these actions get a B- in terms of ensuring kids move to a higher quality school. While many kids will get a better education, there are over a dozen schools where a student is going from a level 3 to another level 3, and 9 of those schools are without academic reinvestment like the ones I've described. Our members want and need CPS to do better, but we are not prone to criticize without being proactive to improve the situation. Since March 23rd, Stanford Children has been going door to door within the boundaries of impacted schools. In just 8 days of canvassing, we've already knocked on 3,700 doors and talked to 619 residents in their neighborhoods about why schools are closing. We're telling families why schools are closing, what are the next steps for their children, and what alternatives are available in their neighborhood. I have personally walked and talked to the families within impacted school boundaries. These conversations are encouraging and starkly contrast the protests being covered in the media. I know that sometimes those that scream the loudest get the most attention. But the reality is that there are people out there who respond well to direct and simple information. Some people are even thankful certain schools are closing, knowing full well the state of mediocrity that has existed there for a long time. I extend an invitation to anyone with a sincere interest to join us on our canvas. We've already walked over a dozen schools and have plenty more ground to cover. Our sincere hope is that we can cut through the noise and keep our focus on what's in the interest of students in the whole district.
Mr. Gonzalez, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Of course.
Thank you.
I thank you for your time, members of the board, and I also thank the Office of Access and Enrollment for getting us the information we needed to let parents know about magnet and open enrollment options. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan.
Our next speaker, please. Speaker 10, Adriana Villegas, followed by Speaker 26, Nora Favela.
Good morning. My name is Adriana Villegas. I live in West Town, and I'm a parent at Rowe Elementary and a member of Stanford Children. I'm here today to thank CPS for hearing and responding to our parent voices through our petition drive. I particularly want to thank Mr. Phil Hampton, Mr. Jack Elsey, Mr. Corey Davis, and Ms. Carol Kranz. As a CPS graduate from Wells High School and as a college counselor at Noble Street College Prep, I know what it takes to send children to college. I currently have 2 children at Rowe Elementary. Sophia's in 2nd grade and Diego is in kindergarten. Despite their young age, they understand that being in school ready to learn will prepare them for college. As Rowe scholars, they understand that showing success, pride, and honor helps create an environment where every minute counts. They understand that by making their brains smarter, as they would say, they will have the power to make a world a better place. So as a parent, it fills me with great joy, knowing that my children will be looking out for us in the future. As a parent, I love Rowe for the academic mindset they are instilling in young minds. I love Rowe because our principal, Ms. Martinez, teachers, and families believe that helping every scholar achieve their full potential is a team effort. I chose Rowe because it was important to have my students attend a public school. Fortunately, Rowe is a real option within my community. I chose Rowe because I believe in its mission. What Rowe offers families will have a positive impact in the lives of scholars, their families, and our city. Finally, Rowe Elementary School is at the forefront of meaningful parent engagement. We have an active parent advisory council, we have quarterly coffee sessions with the principal, and we have parents participating in our bilingual stand-up university for parents, also known as Stand Up. We love for you to attend our stand-up graduation with the enclosed invitation. Thank you again, and we look forward to continuing to work with the board to support our Rowe scholars.
Thank you, Ms. Villegas.
Last call for Nora Favela.
Susan.
Moving on to the next speaker then, please. Speaker number 11, Matthew Luskin, followed by speaker number 12, Juanita Areola, and then speakers from Trumbull, please. 13 and 29, Allison Burke and Sarah Lopez.
Hi, my name is Matthew Luskin. I'm the parent of 2 sons at LaSalle Language Academy. I'm an organizer with the Chicago Teachers Union. Frankly, I had to change what I was going to speak about today, given recent actions. It's hard to feel listened to when the mayor has already announced that your minds have been made up and that there's going to be no changes to this list. That's a difficult thing to accept. We are hearing you, though, and Mr. Ruiz, we heard you ask for actual implementable ideas. Here's a few regarding the budget. We've heard your claims about $1 billion deficit. We've heard a lot of back-patting, congratulating ourselves for making tough decisions for the schools, and we have to question some of this. We've been presented with financial justification for the largest set of school closings that this country has ever seen. And even if we take the board's numbers at face value, $1 billion deficit and savings of $500,000 per school, this means we could close 100 schools and save about $50 million. It sounds big unless you stack it up against $1 billion deficit. It means disrupting 100 African American communities, almost exclusively African American communities, risking the education and safety of tens of thousands of students, putting thousands of people out of work, all to fix less than 5% of the budget problem that we're supposedly trying to tackle. It's hard to justify even on a fiscal level. And what makes it even harder is that for nearly 2 years, the Chicago Teachers Unions, community organizations, the Grassroots Collaborative, other community groups, and parents across the city have been asking you to join us in a real fight to address the budget problems in a serious way, in a larger way. At your first meeting, we presented you with pledges asking us to join us in fighting for reform of the TIF program, demanding that banks renegotiate the toxic swap deals that are profiting tens of millions of dollars a year at the expense of our students. So let's talk about that for a minute. Tax increment financing continues to take.
Mr. Luskin.
I will try to wrap this up quickly.
Thank you.
$250 million a year from our schools. This is more money than 200 school closings would provide, but the silence of the Board of Education on this issue has been deafening. It's made worse when hotels, $5.5 million was recently approved for the development of a new Hyatt hotel here in the city, while a member of their board of directors sat on this Board of Education. Again, silence. There is a very real way.
Thank you, Mr. Luskin.
In savings,
Our next
11
speaker, please.
schools will be closed in order to build.
Our next speaker will be Juanita Arreola,
We
please.
would like to represent these pledges to you and ask you once again to join us in fighting for real funding for our schools. Here's 10 copies for the Board of Education.